Right. Well, I'm not sure if my guest is coming, but I have sent him the link. By the way, just let me know if the audio is if you can if the audio is okay. But yeah, well, we might as well just have a bit of fun. Now, if I do have to go out, I've got the baby monitor, so wife is just out. So yeah, I may have to just pop out quickly. Um, yeah, so yeah, we had the last round of the NRL. The regular season, which look, I guess that Knights Dolphins game, while there was everything on the line, I think it kind of felt like the Knights had it pretty much under in control. Yeah, and the Dolphins just made some really really incredible mistakes, and that's a shame because yeah, you got to wonder. I mean, look, Wayne Bennett's gone, leaving the Dolphins, and this is the Redcliffe Dolphins. Well, they're officially called the Dolphins, so not that we're not. We'll talk about the Miami Dolphins in a little bit. Um, but yeah, so that yeah, it was a bit of a dark look. Yeah, but it was certainly you had the scenario like I think the Raiders needed both the Knights and the Dolphins to draw, which was really, really unlikely. I mean, it was on the cards, but yeah. So the Knights will play the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys should win that easy, but I think those, you know, the Cowboys and the Bulldogs are the real Mavericks. I think they'll probably end up playing the Roosters and probably the Sharks. So the don't write off the Sharks when they come to Melbourne. They always seem to find some magic um, every time they come to Amy Park. Yeah, so yeah. By the way, it's nice that the NRL goes straight into the finals rather than just in the AFL you have to wait for a bye. But look, oh yes, so AFL of course, yeah. Look, to be fair, the AFL finals bit of a dud really. Apart from the Sydney Derby, the Swans Giants Derby. Which that was an absolutely unbelievable game. The Swans are pretty much behind the entire game, and then yeah, Isaac Heaney with that's why he's one of the greats. I mean, who's that guy at the Swans who I know he came up. There was a bit of a furore around his because of the racism struggle. Adam Goods, yeah, I mean, there's Goods. Lockett, O'Loughlin, Kirk, but yeah, I mean Isaac Heaney's going to be up there with one of the greatest to play for the Swans. The comeback was just absolutely brilliant. That fourth quarter was absolutely that was I think pretty much made up for the whole weekend because look, Brisbane, yeah, Carlton came back, but Brisbane had it comfortably. Port Adelaide were very disappointing, and yeah, look, they've got to come back up and for their game, is it Hawthorn? I've got to check that again. Is it? So we know Sydney and Geelong are through to the next round. Well, the following week's round because they're in the prelims. So, um, what was it again? I keep straight. So Port Adelaide take on the Hawks, who really look good. I think, yeah, they've got a second chance at the Adelaide Oval, which I don't know. That's really going to help them. They really have to buck up after what happened. That was a very, very disappointing way for Port, in the particularly, going to showing the form they had. Um, yeah, and by the way, Myth of Damien McKenzie. I'm not sure what's happened. Sorry, so apologies if you were expecting Tom, but yeah, let's see. Oh, just had an apology. So Kent tonight. Oh, he's just pulled out, guys. So sorry. Just then he just pulled out. Had a. Oh, that's a shit. He sends his apologies. So yeah, if you just came for him, that's okay. It's just me. I'll probably Let's see how we go. We can talk sport. I was just ranting about sport, just the NRL. That's a shame because we wanted to talk about the All Blacks and the Springboks. Which I mean that was an incredible series. I mean, um, really, really, really incredible series. I mean, like um, ultimately, yeah. Look, the Box deserved to win. And yeah, I can make my peace in that. I mean, I think in the past when the All Blacks have lost, I've kind of thought it's the end of the world. But you know, we've had really 10 or so, 15 good years, and there was always going to come a time when the All Blacks were there's someone else who's going to be top, and I think it's good for world rugby. I think it's good for the sport. It's good for and it's good for the aura. Actually, I was reading about a comment on one of the videos about the Springboks aura, and the fact is that you know I think the All Blacks aura the All Blacks kind of had a good 20 or so years because South African rugby was kind of put back because of the what happened with the isolation from apartheid. So that and yeah, I mean it certainly hit South African rugby for six. I mean for a long time it was in fact South Africa who pretty much dominated for until the sort of until the isolation period. So, and yeah, some are saying they're just coming back now in South Africa. I guess commercially, they've always got a bigger population in New Zealand. Commercially, they've got Europe. And they've got this Nike deal as well. So, no, I'll just um, sorry, I'm just popping it. Hang on, I'll be right back. Just a moment. Sorry, I just had to put the monitor out. Yeah. So South Africa, yeah, look, I think 2019, I think there was a bit of question mark that whether they should have won 2019 because the All Blacks were still pretty much. I think that we were still pretty good. We had Kieran Reid, Sam Cane, Aaron Smith, Sam Whitelock, and I think we split the Springboks in the group stages. That semi-final against England that really shot us in the foot. Yeah, and the Springboks, they made they after that loss to the All Blacks, they just came right. By the way, I really should explain the big elephant in the room is that I lost a bet to our good friend Llewellyn. I said if South Africa win 2-0, I said 1-1. If South Africa win 2-0, I will wear this shirt in public. So yep, I'm a man of my word, and yeah, this is a throwback from it's Canterbury. When did the Essex deal start? I think this is from 2009. No, possibly 2006. When did the Proteas thing come up? Not sure, but it's certainly a throwback from the 2000s. Prior to 20, it's certainly before the Essex thing. So this was probably one of my favorite tops. And look, I do have a couple of South African players from that time I love. John de Villiers, Jacques Fourie, Scott Burger, Joe Van Niekerk, Fourie de Vries, John Smith. Yeah, they're turned out the Beast star. He's a bit later on, but yeah. So I'm a rugby fan, and yeah, I mean, I do collect rugby jerseys, and this is kind of one of my favorite tops. And yeah, oh yeah, and Francois Steyn, of course. How can you forget him? Yeah. So look, if you want to go, it's fine. I mean, it's just I'll probably do a bit of a shorter stream, and we'll certainly try to track a few more guests, or hopefully we get Tom at a later stage. Which is a shame, yeah, because I thought we should try and talk. Let me see if I can. Let's see if we can get a. Let's see. I couldn't draw such a friend. This is a. I might change the title of this, by the way. Let's just talk. Right. Let's just talk sport. I'm just got it. But let's see if we can. Yeah, so sorry. The Myth of Damien McKenzie couldn't make it. I did send him the invite. It was a bit late, to be fair. So, but thought be pretty convenient. I wonder. Let's see if we can. Just feel free to post any comments in there. Yeah. By the way, of any questions about your thoughts on the South Africa game or any, NFL started this week. This feels like talkback radio, by the way. That's all right. NFL started this. By God, it was good. It was really, really, really good. Yeah, I mean, those. This is I'm an NFL fan. I mean, I guess regular. You go from rugby to NFL. It's quite a natural progression because pretty much in the off season. Um, of rugby. I mean, you've got it's coming, NRL is kind of fitting the NRL sort of finish, NRL last weekend of the NRL regular season. And then you had the first game of the NFL regular season, and yeah, it's a brilliant, and that it's kind of convenient. But yeah, no, look, I think the first game of the NFL season opened with the Chiefs Ravens, and that was a cracking finish. You didn't see that. Watch the highlights. Certainly, probably watch the fourth quarter if you could, if you wanted to watch the game, because yeah, that fourth quarter was brilliant. Yeah, and I mean they just won by a toe. It's a bit like the Tennessee Titans Rams Super Bowl where they were short by 1 yard, but Isaiah likely just had his toe on the line. So yeah, I mean yeah. I mean the jokes are he fell short by a toe, but it was just an incredible effort, and I guess Ravens, yeah, Lamar Jackson, yeah. I mean to be fair, Lamar Jackson played out of the skin, but his yeah, I mean there were a couple of missed targets, but look, the Ravens will still be up there. And then we had a super game in the Arena Corinthians in Brazil between the Packers and Eagles. Disaster of a pitch, but yeah, look, Saquon Barkley with three touchdowns. Absolutely monster. The Packers, who went home not only with their tails between the legs. Is that okay to say that? But Jordan Loves is injured, and fortunately, not the serious injury, not season ending. He should be back later, but yeah, that's certainly. I mean, when you think the Detroit Lions beat the Rams in the other primetime game, yeah, it's not a good start for the Packers. But yeah, look, my pet team, the Pats, had a really, really great game against. Look, the defense played absolutely. The defense was good as I thought. With Gerard Mayo, he's a former defensive player, but the offense played much better than I thought. I mean, it was efficient. It's not pretty, but there are far uglier teams in the NFL. Like you see the Steelers, they didn't score. They won despite not scoring a touchdown. And as Urinating Tree says, my friend Urinating Tree says, it's Steelers football. It's just the BS is real. And yeah, the Steelers beat the Falcons in the Arthur Smith Derby. But anyway, yeah, look, Jacoby Brissett, yeah, was he's not the most he's not going to be the new Tom Brady. He is pretty much Geno Smith Mark II. He's I think with the experience he's got, he makes doesn't make many mistakes. Doesn't doesn't make risky throws. And he's so yeah, in a way it fits the Patriots model. Look, I mean, what have you got? You've got Ramondre Stevenson, and Workman, like very powerful running back, one of the certainly someone you have in fantasy. You've got Hunter Henry, who is probably one of the better tight ends, and yeah, and the Bengals, aka the Bongles, just didn't show up. So yeah, so that is that. So yeah, so the Patriots 1-0, and Miami 1-0, and there's one more. Actually, all AFC East teams. It's possible they could all end up on the same. Both with wins at the start of the season. The Bills almost didn't. Um, so that's that. Look, I don't want to. Yeah, look, and I'm sorry about Myth of Damien McKenzie. I'm not sure what's happened there, but yeah, sorry about that. He's had to pull out, but uh, let's see. Let's see if I can do something here. Just excuse me for a moment. Well, let's see if we can. This guy used to run a rugby page called Super Rugby Tips. Yeah. But yeah, the rugby look, Tasman winning the Ranfurly Shield. Just freaking it sound like late night talkback radio. This feels like late night talkback radio. What sport can we talk about? We've talked about NFL. Let's talk about rugby. Look, Tasman. Oh yes, Auckland, North Harbour. There was that. Yeah. in a box. Trying to see if this works. This is hilarious. This is very, yeah. Oh, well, we're trying all sorts of things. Like right now. Llewellyn's. I don't know if I think Llewellyn's got a night job, so right. And then if you just need a mic and a just need a mic. Yeah, I've been trying to get. I'm trying to see if I can get. Try to get the Legend of Marty Banks actually to one of these because I actually know him. I've met him before. Yeah. I might try and see if we can get him on. Yeah, there's this guy. He's got cerebral palsy or Down syndrome. Cerebral palsy, not Down syndrome. Sorry. He's yeah. Not the cerebral palsy gamer. I've heard of him. He's really good stuff. Oh my god, JG still alive? Are you- Is JG9 still alive? Should we invite JG? You're still up. What you're? Oh my god, you're so. Should we? Let's see if I can. Uh, wonder if you can join streams. Oh, you're stream. Let's check this. Wonder if you can. Oh, damn it! He's logging off. Wonder if you can stream. That's hilarious. Sorry. Yeah, you can just jump on. That's just. Yeah. Curse of the Bambino. Sorry. He's trying to stream while he's stream. Trying to have JG9 on my stream. Holy crap. Can't believe two people. No, he's pulling. Yeah, sorry, this is a bit. All right, sorry, I was just trying to see if we could. Isn't JG9's in Phoenix, Arizona? So isn't it like what time is it? It's like 1 in the morning. He works on videos. So I thought, oh, let's try and see if we can get him on. So this feels like talkback radio, but yeah, we'll just hang around and see if anyone pops up. Let's see if I can find any rugby I can talk. Yeah. Yeah. Click that. Use the links of the links in the link is above. Now I might have this guy. I'm trying to talk to this guy. He's a Southland stat. Um he used to run a he used to have a web page called Super Rugby Tips back in the day. He doesn't really yeah, and yeah, I'm just gonna like he's asking all these questions. He's a trained journalist, so let's see if he joins. Yeah, that's a shame. I mean, I really enjoyed working with Tom, and yeah, that was a great one the first time, and yeah, it was a little bit. I guess we did thing, but yeah, oh well, that's alright. These things happen, so kind of nice talking rugby, and yeah, there's this guy called the Rugby Opinion who I feel he's got yeah, he's really his stuff is pretty good. I mean, he's got cerebral I think cerebral palsy. I'm not sure, but he's got. But yeah. If you listen, he is really inspirational, and I guess it's kind of fitting. Speaking on the Paralympics just ended, which by the way, it's just awesome. There's another guy on YouTube called Cerebral Palsy Gamer who is he's just he talks NFL. I think Tree's had him on his stream before. He is really there's a couple of really good guys there. Q&A with Grips. Yeah, he's a gamer, so yeah, absolutely. And he's been, Rossi actually always rates him, so yeah, he's a really good guy. So, I wonder if, we'll see if, I wonder if my unexpected guest will jump in. This is actually amazing. There's still two people. I don't know why there's still two people in this. I don't understand. But yeah, because this let's see, even Blue Island's up. He'll probably be here to gloat. Nah, he was wearing an All Blacks top last time, if you recall. So he does like the All Blacks. There's a lot of South Africans too. Let's see. I think he's working though, so I don't think he's going to be on. What? Oh, Scotty. Let's try this. All right, let's add him to the stage. Hi.
G'day, Lemmy. How's it going?
Oh, it's great. This feels like old times.
Yeah, well, I mean, while it would have been funny to watch you floundering around on your own waiting for guests to arrive, I thought I'd jump in.
Yeah. So, fortunately, Myth of Damien McKenzie, his name's Tom, who has been on this before, fortunately pulled out last minute, and we were going to talk about the Springboks All Black series. Just kind of fresh on that. I thought we'll do it tonight, but yeah, that's so. I thought I'll bring on an esteemed rugby expert like yourself. I mean, there's only two people watching, but people tend to watch this later. So, um,
Oh, yeah.
so
I see you've already bought yourself a Springboks top, supporting that winning team.
yeah, it's a better loss. This guy in South Africa said I was saying if the All Blacks win, it'll be a 1-1 series. If we lose 2-0, I'll just like okay, I'll wear a Springboks top in public. It's like, no. I had to wear it in the work meeting. And it's like, yeah, I lost a bet. So, but to be fair, I work with Australians, and so it's like, to be honest, I'd rather wear a Springbok top than a Wallabies jersey. To be honest, because no one really cares about the Wallabies right now. That's rather sad. So, yeah,
Well, yeah, they did beat the Pumas in that first test, but
well, they
yeah,
did.
that second
It was
test
rainy.
was,
It was a strange one because
yeah, it was.
the first one was rainy. It was Augustine Creevy's last game, and yeah, I don't know. It was just that was crazy. I couldn't believe it. And then yeah, it was the rain. And then but on a sunny afternoon in Argentina, yeah. I mean, to be fair though, they were. I guess they were 20. The point was they were 23. They were like 20 points up, and then to lose like 64, it's like yeah, they just stopped playing. It's like what? Yeah, I
Mind
mean,
you, it's pretty hard over there. The Pumas are a tough team to beat these days, especially at home.
well,
Uh,
yes,
yeah.
yeah. I think they were. It's kind of like they're just they're the real like how France used. We always said France was like the perfect up and down. How they're always like really. They just have that. They're really most of the time, you don't think of them, and when they play the All Blacks or someone like that, it's like, oh, they're just like the world's best team. It's like, yeah, it's like Argentina seems to be like that now. It's like, one weekend, like Wellington, they just had more passion than us, and then the next weekend, it's like, oh yeah, they've pretty much run out of gas. So it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how they go against the Box because I mean they bring that physicality which we were lacking at times. So yeah,
yeah,
we'll see how they go.
they've got yeah, it's home and away. It's finally it's kind of like I guess the Springboks, because we've got Australia, like it's historically they're our neighbors, and the Bledisloe, but South Africa's got to find someone else to play. It's like, well, there's no one in Africa, so it's like, well, Argentina and South Africa aren't actually that close at all. It's like isn't it like a 6 hour plane trip
Oh,
across the
that's
Atlantic.
right. Yeah, and I mean I
Like,
guess that's why they play in the Northern Hemisphere too. With the time zone,
yeah,
it's a lot easier to
and
go
that's
up
still a
north.
6 hour trip, but that's still a big trip. Like, I mean, I guess, not Australia, New Zealand is kind of, it's like you're going from like London to Moscow or something like, but yeah, well, Moscow, Berlin, or yeah, or East or Greece. It's like, but yeah, it's like, well, they Argentina and South Africa pretty much isolated. So, but yeah, I mean, we'll kind of need Argentina to do us a favor, which is, even then that might not be enough because, well, we
Well,
lost
yeah,
to them.
definitely won't be. I
The
mean, you
the
look,
first the first loss, yeah,
we were kept playing catch up from behind the eight ball. I mean, to be
pretty
honest,
much,
we actually got closer against the Box than I thought we would because I mean, you
yeah,
look at us, we lost at home to the Pumas, although we did beat them in that second test. But in the going into that, the Springboks were on fire against Australia, and so
yeah, yeah,
they're
like
always going to be hard to beat, especially in their home conditions. It's quite a tricky draw when you've got to play them twice,
yeah,
over there. And we got pretty close on both occasions.
yeah. Like, look, there was a couple of things like execution wise, and yeah,
Yeah, still things to work on, but I mean, it
yeah,
was encouraging at the same time. And it's just hard to know if we've got the players of that squad, if they'll rise the level, get up there and actually beat the Box soon, or if we still need to a change of personnel. It's sort of a million
yeah.
dollar question,
We're
really.
still trying to find it. Like, I mean, yeah, like I mean, it's the thing though. Like, you've got someone like Sam Kane, who I don't know, he's probably the most. Well, he's not quite as polarizing as Ruben Thorne, but it's kind of like he's quiet, but you actually see, you can't, you don't really see it because he's actually doing the work. He's just doing all these tackles, but he's not going to be with the All Blacks after this year, so it's like who's
Well,
going to
that's
actually do it?
right. Him and TJ Perenara, for example, interesting selections because whilst they may have, got their own merit, you wonder about the going back to those guys when they're basically in the twilights of their careers. When we've got a World Cup, in 3 years, we
Yeah,
better blood some more of these young guys. But it shows you maybe we don't necessarily have that talent coming through
we don't
like
have
we
that
used to.
bridge. Yeah, we just
Yeah.
don't have that bridge. So like, I could see why they brought, like he swapped. He started with Ratimer, who was actually, yeah, I thought he did have a pretty solid game. And then you have Perinara on the bench. It's kind of like, well, we kind of need that experience because, yeah, I mean, yeah, I've been saying there's a million, over the talking to people at the game. It's like, well, the Springboks are doing what we used to do, like, back in 2015, for example. You used to be able to call like what Sam Kane to replace Richie McCaw, and you've got Bowden Barrett who could cover fullback,
That's
or
true. We
Dan
would have
Carter.
about
Yeah,
three
it's
teams. You could name three 15s that the All Blacks would have, and they'd all be really good. Like you'd have
yeah.
Sapawanga, you'd have Barrett, Carter,
But Sopawanga didn't even make that. That's right, Sopawanga, and he didn't even make that Rugby World Cup squad.
and
Wasn't
you
that?
and you had Cruden as well around that time. So you kind
Yeah,
of got all these. We had a depth of riches, and we were like there'd be games that we would win that we had no right to win, but we sort of took it for granted, basically.
Yeah, and that's
and then those guys have retired, moved on a bit, and now it's like, well, hold on, who have we got? We've sort of got a solid squad, but we don't necessarily have that world's best players in each position like we used to.
Yeah, there's definitely talent in there. Like, it's just, experience. Like, the box could, where you thought, like, sort of compared it to, the 223s. It's like, hang on, week 2 is like, oh, well, they just brought in Andre Pollard. Like, Sasha Feinberg was, I'm not going to come to Sasha, but I can't. I struggle. Sasha Feinberg was really good, but it's just, he's only 22. So I was like, oh, we'll bring on Andre Pollard. But I was like, oh, okay. And then you've got, I mean, they're not, like, they've got Lucanu. They could bring in, like, Lucanu Arm, who, could possibly have a case to be in the centers, but it's like, oh, yeah, play on the wing. It's like, okay, they have a lot of that, and then we've got Quagga Smith and Malcolm Marks. It's like, yeah, and it's like, so.
And the thing is, they've also got a decent coach now who knows how to get the best out of them, and that's sort of given them this amazing ability to win those games. And yeah, it's pretty tough to beat them, but yeah, I mean, I guess it keeps us humble,
Yeah, just gotta appreciate. I think a couple of years back, it's like, yeah, always say, like, sport is cyclic. This is never gonna last forever. I mean, it lasted a whole lot longer than we most would have expected. But South Africa was South Africa's got like nearly 60 million people. Look, I know only a tenth of them might or 100 120 of them might pursue rugby, but it's still like a big advantage. It's still a bigger tap in. We've got so. And
and how good were those crowds though? I mean, unfortunately here there have been some games where we haven't necessarily had too big a crowds, but over there, of course, have massive crowds and just amazing atmosphere, which is cool to see, actually.
Yeah, and it's quite weird, how they're talking about cost of living over here, but South Africa's economy is, look at I'm talking, South Africa has got so many economic problems. The economy is far worse over there. They've got rolling blackouts. They've got their runs worth barely anything, and it's like, yeah, they're still turning up. I mean, like, if you see URC games, no one watches them, sadly, especially at Ellis Park. But I think that's a bit of an issue. Like, there's crime around, like, Ellis Park.
Yeah, and I wonder how much tickets cost the equivalent of. I mean, I know here, to go to the ABs, it's pretty expensive when you consider, how many hours worth of work does it cost to pay for a ticket to the rugby? It would be quite interesting to do between the different countries.
Yeah. I mean, imagine they'd have to I reckon it might be a little bit cheaper. I mean, mind you, there's still a lot of, you see the crowd. I mean, there's there's an affluent, there's still like the affluent middle class, and
well, that's right.
Over there.
I remember over there. I mean, when the 2011 World Cup was on, you might remember that. Well, we watched South Africa Wales, I think it was, and yeah, it's amazing how the crowds were very sporting / a bit more sort of polite and courteous people. As opposed to maybe going to the football and watching the Phoenix or whatever, where it was a different crowd.
Yeah, the football fans. Yeah, because you bet, and I've cited. I was actually bringing up your comparison of the 2011 Rugby World Cup final at Eden Park with the Bahrain All Whites game in 2009.
Yeah, that's right. Far better crowd atmosphere. It was far cheaper to go to the Bahrain game too. The Bahrain game only was like about $30 or $40.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The World Cup final, I paid about $10 a minute per action. So that's like $800. And they weren't even the most expensive tickets. And the only thing was, you had to go into a ballot to get them. So you'd be sitting. I knew about 12 people at that final, but you could only sit in pairs because you're only allowed to get 2 tickets in the ballot.
Yeah, and it's like the sort of game which was just not not relaxing. Like, I mean, Bahrain
All Whites wasn't. Like, yeah, that's right.
There's the atmosphere, and then it's like, oh, there's something there. It's kind of like it's a nice sort of tension because it's like
there was a nervous energy, and to be honest, we probably got a few reffing calls will go away, but also Stephen Donald coming off the bench. I was pleased with that. Bit of a fairy tale, but we were actually quite lucky to win that final. But hey, we'll take it. It's sort of gave us that first title since '87. So
yeah, it was like, yeah, we needed that. So yeah, so we've got, yeah, so yeah, no,
of course the Springboks were bundled out in the quarterfinals against the
Bryce
Wallabies.
Lawrence. Yep,
Yeah,
don't mention
they
don't
always
mention
love
that name
talking
in.
about that.
Yeah, I was at that game. Yeah, it was
It's actually amazing with the interpretations of rugby is what we've come to realise, that in a lot of other sports the referees' interpretations don't vary so much, but in rugby you've got so many times in a game where the referee's decisions are actually quite open to interpretation. So you've got,
yeah,
for example, at the breakdown, and a lot of the time there are players who you'd think, hold on, this player's a professional, he should know the laws of the game, but he gets penalised for example, not releasing the player. But then at the
yeah,
same time, in another game, it may be judged that he did, and the player with the ball didn't release the ball.
yeah,
It's kind of there's a fine line, and so often the interpretation of these things can just come down to the referee's decision, and that might be
yeah.
where the Springboks playing in the Northern Hemisphere may be more used
Oh,
to
100%.
the
Yeah, yeah,
refs over there rather than our Super Rugby. It's kind of it gets a little bit loose at times, really,
oh
and
yeah,
so then you're going to step up and playing test footy, and it's a different intensity, and yeah, it's sort of a different style of rugby, really.
yeah. Because they're more the Northern Hemisphere refs are more like technical. It's like, and they're like all about order. Whereas
Yeah,
like your Ben O'Keefe's, Angus Gardner, they're like, let the game flow. Yeah, and so like, and then like the Andrew Brace calling out TJ Perenara for talking up to him, and it's like, oh well, you don't, it's like, well, that for New Zealand fans, like, they think that's pretty
yeah,
harsh, but
that's
it's
right.
like, yeah, I mean, that wasn't the best thing to do. It's like, it's just he's the Northern Hemisphere, they are more technical, and I
Yeah,
guess
and they start
because
calling out things that we don't actually get called out in our games. It's quite interesting, this whole
yeah.
double banking thing that we hadn't really heard of that
Yeah, that's like
term.
South Africans were talking about, the Bongi tribe, which, yeah, let's not. I mean, that's an interesting Yeah, I was like reading but yeah, it's not, it doesn't actually say about, it's funny how it doesn't actually say about, well, I mean, it talks about, control, but, it's more about, or even like this, the
Well,
separation.
this is the thing. It's the wording. I guess that it's hard when you create any sport. You have to come up with, a set of laws or rules. But then at the same time, there are these things that get thrown in there that are kind of like in a game situation that kind
Yeah,
of are not necessarily fitting in the laws, and you sort of have to interpret how they would squeeze into the laws.
yeah,
The trouble is, of course, you take one law away or stop riffing it. Like sometimes you've got these in a game of rugby, for example, there might be a situation where a ref doesn't tend to police the lineouts very much, and so then
nah,
it has a flow-on effect to other aspects of the game. Or
yeah,
so then it's kind of like, well, hold on, this player in one game got away with not throwing it in straight, but then in another game he got pulled up for
yeah.
it.
You can nitpick in this. Yeah, I know yeah. I mean, we all say about South African rugby fans, they're great, but and much more mature. But yeah, they are like but that's not. It's everyone's got their crazy fans, and I know like on YouTube, there was this South African fan who's just like analyzing every bit of the refs, like how it's like, yeah, this is like, yeah, that you're kind of pulling out every single thing, but at the end of the day, yeah, I guess the referees are human. I mean, if you want to be perfect, you want to resort to like drones or AI, and it's just but yeah, and I can tell, like with World Rugby, they're trying to, obviously they're trying to make it. I guess with all sport, they're trying to make the rules simpler to make the referees' jobs easier. But
Yeah, it's
yeah,
probably one
you
of the
just
most complicated sports around when you try explaining it to a
yeah,
non
the football person or
yeah.
But wait till you come to the NFL, because they've just that's even more complicated. It's like they've changed the whole kickoff rule. It's like I've never seen that. It's completely
Yeah,
different. So
and what gets me too is these different law variations that come in for different competitions to try and speed the game up, and a lot of the time make it more like rugby league. They kind of tend to bring in, oh, okay, so this competition there are goal line dropouts, but in this competition they're going to do this, or they're not doing those. And then you're like, well, hold on. You start forgetting which competitions the actual laws are being played.
Experimental laws like in the NPC,
That's right.
It's like, oh, hang on, we can't do that here. Or Super Rugby, they do that. So it's that consistency, and I guess in your footballs or soccer footballs, so it's like at least it's consistent across the world. It's like offside's offside, or it's just referees. Like I guess there might be a cultural thing, but generally it's 90% of the time, I get it's pretty understandable. So
although in rugby there are so many laws in the sense that you could be very nitpicky. If you pulled up absolutely every single thing according to the letter of the law, you would have this really stop-starty, ugly game. No one would want to play it or watch it. So they sort of have to kind of just let it flow, overlook the odd thing that might not affect the game so much.
Well, they are trying to speed it up because, I think certainly like you see a lot of the core, the shot clocks. And of course, and then we go back to the NPC, the Bryn Hall one. Yeah, it's like the ref actually gave a free kick to Auckland because Bryn Hall was like, like he called him for wasting time because he was trying to change the ball for the scrum.
Oh, right.
Did you see that? Oh no, I guess well, I guess fortunately no one really follows the NPC, but it's so the Harbour were there was the scrum pretty much in Auckland territory.
Was it Northland versus Counties, wasn't it?
No, Auckland Harbour. Bryn Hall plays for Harbour.
Oh yes,
the middle of the bridge. Yeah. And so Harbour had a scrum, and then it was like kind of like probably about 2 minutes to go.
That's so right. It was a close one.
Yeah, Harbour pretty much had the game. And then Bryn Hall was like, oh, I'm just gonna get, he's just walking to get another ball. It was like, and then the ref said like, hey, ref gave a free kick to Auckland. And
that's right.
Yes, they scored off that. Yeah, it's funny because I was watching breakdown, and Angus Tarbar was there. It's like, and Bryn Hall actually does a bit of podcasting as well, so that would have been actually interesting. What's your take there on this?
I mean, that was Auckland's first win. It's interesting seeing a team like that sort of go for such a long time without a win. I mean, I mean, if they can make the 8, this is the thing with sport, though. It's about momentum. If you can, sometimes it can take a while to get that first win, but once you get it, and if you can keep backing it up, then you're dangerous heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's right. And Auckland, it is. I mean, that's been the remarkable thing about this NPC is like Auckland's, Auckland, Canterbury, Canterbury have kind of, not what they were.
They've struggled a bit. They've still got some good players there, but they don't necessarily have the depth that they once had. But I mean, I went to the Tasman Canterbury game, and Tasman basically sort of shut them down quite easily, and won that one comfortably.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting seeing some of these non-main cities doing well. Like you've got Tasman and Taranaki are up there, of course.
Yeah, they've got like it's all because they've got all these Super Rugby players. Like while they're like not quite All Blacks. They're not. They're not. Well, they might have been one cap All Blacks. Like Fakatavas, and I mean Finley Christie's come back. Finley
Christie, he's good in the NPC. I mean, just that experience. Just to settle that settling influence. But it was a very close game, that Tasman versus Hawke's Bay Shield challenge.
That was a classic. Like, I thought Tasman blew it again. And then they got, but Hawke's, was like, well, finally it had to happen. Finally, it's like Campbell Parata.
Well, that's right, because he's had a lot of injury issues, but for him to go out there, and he was pretty fresh onto the park, mind you, but he had a bit of confidence shown him by the team, and he delivered 48 meters.
Yep.
It's a bit of a strange one, though, because, of course, Tasman splits their home games between Blenheim and Nelson, so...
it's a shame they couldn't have brought it. Blenheim. Yeah, because Blenheim's held Blenheim's seen the Shield back, I mean, it was 53 years ago. but Nelson's never.
Yeah, 1973.
I mean,
Yeah,
they did parade around Nelson, but have a. Well, I mean, yeah, they've got
such a big
interest.
area though.
They've got Wellington, who are actually playing this week, who are playing on Wednesday, and then against
Yeah,
Otago.
Wellington's good. I mean, the top four. I mean, there are some good sides, but Wellington, Tasman, Taranaki, and Hawke's Bay seem to be the teams to beat.
That's the thought.
Um,
Yeah, those are the teams I thought. Well, yeah, those are the four I thought. Yeah, they'll be. It'll be Taranaki. Yeah, Taranaki look. They consider to be pretty good. Wellington. I think. Yeah, Wellington. They kind of. I think they hit the break. They kind of hit the bricks at the end of last season. But although we saw them. I took my boys to Porirua Park or Jerry Collins Stadium to watch Wellington Manawatu.
oh
And
yeah,
yeah,
it
there
was
was
quite closer than expected, that one, wasn't it?
yeah, Manawatu actually played really, really well. It was like, yeah, unfortunately we had to leave, but when we left in the second half, and I mean, unfortunately, yeah, that's with kids, and yeah, Manawatu were actually in front. I thought, yeah, I think it was like, oh, we've got an upset here, but got home and like Wellington had won, yeah, because yeah, I mean, yeah, it was, yeah, that Porirua Park's a pretty cool place to. I don't. Did you ever? No, I
Nah,
should.
never
We
been
didn't
there.
have
But
any intro. Scotty used to live in Wellington, so I should prick into in 30 seconds. Yeah, Scotty's a South. So Scotty's a Southland fan. He's living in Nelson now, and yeah, he used to live in Wellington. We used to flat with each other, so and we're both into sports. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, yeah. But so yeah, so Porirua Park's only like it's probably like not like you could actually walk there in like half an hour or something. Yeah.
yeah, well, I've got to say that. I mean, I've gone from the lowest, well, one of the bottom teams in the country, living in Southland, to living in Tasman, where you've got they've won a couple of NPC titles and the Shield since I've lived here, but I'm still loyal to the Stags, So
Yeah. Yeah,
it's you grow up going to watch them. You grow up going to watch them at Rugby Park and in Invercargill. It's sort of as a kid, and then you sort of just carry on, going to those games and enjoying the NPC.
Yeah, and like, yeah, I've lived longer in Wellington now than Dunedin, but I still follow Otago. It's like
Otago is actually, I think that loss to Southland might have actually been the
yeah,
best because it kind of kicked them into action.
That was horrendous. That was a horrendous performance by Otago. It was like, yeah, I mean, you guys, Southland's actually, I think Southland are pretty underrated this season. I mean,
They're
you guys
quite a hard team to beat. The interesting thing is the Stags have had a few injuries too, so
yeah.
they've got a few guys coming back, and hopefully, well, they're playing. The trouble is, it's a pretty tough competition.
It is. It's a good.
They've got Canterbury next up, and then I think still got to play some heavyweights like Auckland and Waikato. So it's pretty tough. It's a pretty tough gig.
Yeah, Otago, like, we had a few good results, but I think, yeah, I mean, yeah, we had a chance to beat Canterbury. It was just kind of like, yeah, I mean, the depth from, from the bench in Canterbury, yeah, they stormed back. So, yeah, so that was a missed opportunity. Yeah, it's kind of like.
Yeah, though I was surprised. Otago did do well against Auckland, and they got pretty close to Taranaki up there, which is something that most teams have. And I've got to say, I like the look of this Josh Jacob, the first five.
Oh, Josh Jacob, yeah, he's a talent.
So it'd be great to see them given a shot at higher honours a bit more because he's sort of got All Black written all over him, that guy.
Yeah, Jacob's probably the next step. I mean, yeah, because I guess the thing is, though, I guess Damien McKenzie is kind of, well, he is late 20s, early 30s. Apparently, he's might be doing a short term deal with La Rochelle after.
Well, I like the look of him off the bench more in some ways, D-Mac.
Yeah.
But then it's like, who do you put in the 10 jersey now that Mo'unga's gone?
Yeah, I mean, you've got Barrett, but
Barrett's, I mean,
first five anymore. So
and then it's like, well, who else is there? I mean, this is the thing. We've basically could just be a good chance to try some combinations in the next couple of weeks. I mean,
Harry Plummer.
Yeah, we're not going to win the rugby championship now, so might as well plan to the future.
Yeah, but, it's just like Jacob's still pretty young. I think he'd be like he didn't even get a full-time contract for rugby last season. Like,
I was surprised at that.
The squad. Yeah, and then who we got? I mean, Balin Sullivan at Auckland looked all right, but yeah, still.
Yeah, this is the thing. There's sort of not that same depth there as there once was.
Yeah,
Mind you,
yeah,
these guys just need a chance. Just look at Satiti. He was a sort of development type super player this year, and he
yeah.
got the odd chance, and then came through.
Yeah, and he played pretty. I thought he did all right against South Africa. It's like he's not.
Yeah,
Yeah, very respectable job. Yeah, so yeah, and then yeah, you've got Ethan Black. Yeah, Ethan Blackadder. I was actually listening to. Yeah, you should listen. Do you listen to podcasts much nowadays?
yeah. I listened to a few What a Lad
Yeah, what a
podcasts.
lad. Good. He did. Yeah, he did one. I think he must have rebroadcast it on YouTube. The one with Ethan Blackadder. So yeah,
Right.
Ethan
Yeah.
Blackadder's story is quite interesting because he sort of came out of kind of he wasn't really like he wasn't quite serious, like he wasn't through the age grade groups, but yeah, he just worked that in. It's like, yep, no, he's in, and he's the
He
next
can
thing he's in
stay on the pitch. He's really good.
Yeah,
But yeah, he's had a few injury
he's a
problems.
bit fragile at the moment. It's like, yeah, I mean, he could be, if he gets over it and if he has a long run, it's like, yeah, he should be in the All Blacks. But yeah, it's just he does, he always seems to be injured. It's like that's the thing. It's like, yeah, that's it. Yeah. So it could be like, I mean, yeah, one option was like Satiti, Blackadder, or you could have Scott Barrett at blindside, Blackadder at 7, and then you have Bayi and Derry, because like Bayi is definitely going to be in there for a bit, and then Derry's been pretty good this year, and
Yeah,
so.
you feel old when you remember that. Like his dad was Hunter Derry that used to play for North Otago
Oh yeah,
back in the '90s, and you're like, oh, I remember him. Oh, okay, I'm feeling a bit old now.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you've got Caleb Clark. I mean, I've met Ronnie
Yeah,
Clark.
Satiti. Yeah,
It's
well.
it's like yeah, but yeah, and then yeah, it's like yeah, so but yeah, this is the age we live in. So, have you been to many? Have you been to many Southland games? Like, I mean, Tasman when Southland comes up to Tasman, like
Yeah, I have. I've been that person that showed up in the South in Jersey, and then when the Stags are losing by 50 points at half time, you put your sweater on. And, no, just kidding. Yeah, I've been to a few games up here, but unfortunately they played in Blenheim about a couple of years ago, but they played in Nelson another year, and so I went along. Unfortunately, the Stags didn't really cover themselves in glory. But the thing is, it's interesting because you've got some of the lower ranked teams in the NPC have some of the best fans. Like you've got Southland and Manawatu, probably
yeah.
Northland are three of the teams that have got, and I guess Taranaki as well, but some of those provincial sides have actually got far better fans.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because
Otago versus
you
Southland
always
game.
you always see a Southland fan.
Yeah, you do actually. There are a lot of
And
Southlanders out there. I mean, they even have a Southlanders party in Wellington every now and again.
yeah,
Some of those politicians and
Chris
various.
McDonald.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
He's unfortunately. Yeah, I think his kids are. This is talking about a mutual friend, flatmate friend. Yeah, his kids are pretty much in great. Yeah, they're pretty much Wellington at the moment. So yeah, or Connor's playing tackle rugby now. So yeah, and Alex is a year behind. So yeah.
right. Yeah. So turning their back on Southland at their peril.
They're outnumbered. Yeah. And he's got a Hurricanes jersey, but oh well,
Oh,
that's it. Well,
oh no.
Alex is having a Otago top, so yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we keep it. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, who knows? It's hard to know what's going to happen with the NPC because it's kind of disappeared from the younger
Well,
generations.
it is good going along. Some of the provinces are making an effort. Like it's free to take kids to a lot of places now,
Yeah.
which is good. And I think it depends where you are though. But like for example, that Otago Southland game, they got 7,000 for that. But then you think that's a great crowd. But then you look back at the 1990s for those games, you'd get a lot more people than that. So yeah, but then that's when you didn't have Super Rugby a lot of the time.
Oh well, yeah. I guess in Chicago, I guess you've got others. you've got other distractions now, and
Well, that's right. Same with a lot of other places. It used to
and
just be the only thing to do is to go to the rugby, but now
yeah,
you've got
community
options.
thing, and it was in the afternoon as well. You can't.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
right. Yeah, especially when
yeah,
you're playing in a cold province, you sort of.
like, yeah, like rugby. Yeah, you wouldn't. Yeah, you don't. Yeah, it's not really like 7 at night in July in Chicago, or the old Carisbrook. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's right.
yeah. I was like, yeah, I think, yeah, we're past that now. So yeah, yeah. I guess so. You're still doing um you're still doing a bit of, I know I did mention before you
I've
earlier you
been a
did a bit
contributor
of
to
rugby.
Rugby News for the
Yeah.
last couple of years, writing a few season previews, a few stories. I actually covered the Battle of the Bridge, a famous club rugby rivalry between the powerhouses of Edendale and Wyndham
Oh
in
yeah.
Southland, and did a follow-up piece on Hawani McDonald at one stage,
Oh
who's the
yes.
former Highlander and Stags loose forwarding coach, actually, who's now at he lives in Marlborough now.
Oh yeah. Here's the guy. Didn't he have like a health scare or
Yeah,
something?
he had a heart attack when he was
That's
playing in the
that's right.
about
Yeah.
2012 in the NPC semi-finals, I think it was, against
Jeez.
Counties. But
Yeah.
no, he's still very active.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a decent player. Yeah.
He was actually pretty good. He was part of that. Well, the funny thing is, he in some ways missed that golden era of Southland rugby, but he kind of played at both sides of it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But he was, he's a good loose forward and lock. Um,
Yeah. Speaking of
and
golden age,
yeah,
Josh Beckus, he's still
yeah,
like he's still playing, isn't he?
he's 38 now, but he
Yeah.
was part of that. He was part of the Stags in that golden era from about 2009 to 2012, where they won the Shield twice and made the NBC semis.
Yeah.
And that Stags forward pack back then, it's mainly based on Southland Boys High players, and they had
Jamie
McIntosh,
McIntosh.
Rutledge,
Yep.
Beckwith, John Hardy as well. He's
Yep.
Scottish international.
Is he
Plus, they
retired
had
now? Yeah. Yeah.
some guys that sort of came down that couldn't sort of make it in other areas, like Tim Boys and
Yeah.
Elliot Dixon,
Oh yeah, of course.
become an All Black, and Chris King, who was a very reliable tight head
He was
prop.
from Canterbury. Yeah. He's been
Yeah.
out of Canterbury.
So
Yeah.
and this guy called Joe Twiniau, who was
Oh yeah, I remember him.
he was used to play American football at one stage, but then he came over and he was very athletic lock. And during those days, though, Southland actually had a remarkable run where they did very well. And a lot of the coaching team from now were playing back then, and same with a lot of them went on to become coaches, like Kenny Lynn. You got
Oh
Jamie
yeah,
McIntosh,
Kenny Lynn.
Matt Saunders, James Wilson,
That's Kenny Lynn's. He's coaching. Where's he? Is he in Japan? Oh, Japan.
Argentina. He's
That's right.
Argentina now.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, how did that happen?
Yeah, well, he had been playing in France, then he started coaching over there, and then did really well. Came
Yeah.
back and helped with the Highlanders, and then he got picked up by Argentina, which is a pretty good, pretty cool gig. Yeah.
Yeah. We need our backs coaches back. It's like, yep, Tony Brown. Wow. Yeah.
Well, that's
Tony
the other
Brown.
thing. I think a lot of these guys, especially sometimes you get these golden era teams where a lot of the players must have had quite a good brain or analytical side of it, and so they ended up going on to become pretty good coaches.
Yeah. And yeah, it's all. I guess the situation. Yeah, like Tony Brown. He did some. We saw he was like. He's been pretty good as a backs coach with like the Highlanders in Japan, and it's kind of like with all the issues with McDonald, it's like and our backline at the moment, it's like, man, wish we could have him. I know he doesn't like Tony. Apparently, like Tony Brown was like when South Africa called him, I was like, yep, I would swim there. And apparently he's got like pretty much got like the he can do whatever he wants. So it's kind of like
Yeah, good coach, especially in the Highlanders during those glory years. He was one of their coaches there, but he's also played a bit in South Africa as well.
Yeah,
Played for the Stormers and the Sharks.
yeah, and it's like, oh no, they're gonna benefit. Like, they've got like Sasha Feinberg, who, yeah, looks like he could be the best, in the world soon. And it's like, well, he's got Tony Brown as his mentor. It's like, yikes. And then,
Yeah, well,
and
that's right. I mean, a bit of a formidable team, really. So,
yep, they've got
yeah,
Grant Williams. Grant Williams is a bit older than I thought, but he's like, yeah, he's got, if they just work on him, he could be like, yeah, he could be like Aaron Smith of South Africa. But yeah, it's like, yeah, well, going back to them, they just have some amazing depth. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
that's right. But yeah, I guess there was a period where they were good around 2007, but then that sort of had some lean years after that for a while. So it's
so
probably about time they like this. But yeah, tough team to beat.
yeah, that's I was actually reading one of the comments on my videos. It was like, apparently, there's this luster, the All Blacks luster, the aura about the All Blacks was apparently not being anti, by the way. It's just, but this is actually what he comment. I'm paraphrasing what he commented. It was like the All Blacks kind of had 20 years head start on South Africa after South Africa were isolated due to apartheid after the '81 tour. And it's kind
Yeah,
of like, yeah, that was like a sledgehammer, like, and South Africa's need, like, South Africa's needed time to catch up because obviously things move on, like, they didn't play they didn't play any test rugby for about a good 10 or so years, and apparently now like South Africa's finally like, yeah, I guess he's a South African reader, but it's like, yeah, they finally caught up, and the All Blacks aren't quite what they are, that, I guess, and but
the other thing is, there's a lot of psychology involved in all of this. Like the All Blacks used to be able to, against Ireland and Argentina, who were two teams who would never beat us. They would always find a way to win. There's a lot of
yeah,
the top 2 inches, but once those teams broke the duck, they realised, hold on, it's not actually that hard to beat the
no.
ABs. So yeah, so that's why it's pretty hard to,
And
I guess, yeah.
the New Zealand, and with Ireland, yeah, that's kind of, I guess, we sent our coaches over there. Oh, like we sent Joe Schmidt there, and he kind of
Yeah,
started
that's right.
the thing.
It's
Yeah,
amazing how many New Zealand coaches there are scattered around the world. Yeah.
yeah. I mean that, yeah, and of course that Rugby World Cup. To be honest, I thought, once we were playing Ireland, it's like, yeah, yeah, I was kind of expecting Ireland to win, and if we'd beaten them, but so it was great when we beat them, and yeah, it was like, oh well, we've got actually the semi-final was Argentina. It's like, oh yeah, I think we should beat them, and it's like, yeah,
Well,
we're actually fine.
the other side of it is, though, I mean, it makes for a lot more exciting rugby when for years it was like, okay, All Blacks are pretty hot favourite to win every game they played. As of now, it's like, well, hold on, no, they're not.
Everyone's got a shot,
There's
yeah,
it's quite close. Like a lot of those top teams on their day, like in that last World Cup, yeah, you had some real close games between a number of the teams,
yeah,
which could have gone either way, but ended up going South Africa's way in the end.
yeah, that's right, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's closing up, and it's just great. Yeah, I'm thinking if you have a bit more competitive, we just have to push on. Yeah, but yeah, I guess it's interesting times. I mean, certainly, there's less. I mean, rugby isn't as dominant as it was in New Zealand. Like, this, just
That's right.
coming over. People, in the Olympics, people can see what, that there's actually more to sport. I'm sure,
Yeah,
for Hamish Kerr, for example, I'm sure we're gonna have, 3 long jumpers at in high jumpers, sorry, in the next,
yeah,
possibly in Brisbane. Because you look like Liza McCartney, for example. Like she won Broad in 2016. She missed Tokyo 2020, and then this Olympics is like, oh, we've got 3 pole vaulters. It's like, wow,
that's right. Yeah.
where did that come from? So it's
Same
like,
with
oh,
the canoeists as well. I mean, you've got, because of Lisa Carrington, it's brought a whole lot of people into the sport.
yeah, yeah, because that used to be a European sport, and yeah, and then you had this Amy Fisher, who, yeah, she's she's pretty interesting person. She's a Christian as well, but yeah, she's a really, really interesting person. There's this rivalry between her and Lisa Carrington, but yeah, and people don't realize actually, like, yeah, Lisa Carrington's like, almost has pretty much got as good a record as like a lot of other you know. Well, I mean, she's in the same. She's not that far from like Michael Phelps. Is no one's ever going to catch him, but like your Usain Bolts or Katie Ledecky. She's like most gold medals. It's like it's in the top 50 or it's certainly the number one canoeist. So it's like that's just
It
that's
also
pretty.
depends on which sports you're in with the Olympics, because you look at the the road cycling, for example. I mean, to win a gold medal in that, you've got to beat a lot of other competitors. With some of these
Yeah,
other events, there are only there's like one crew allowed from each country, and so you only end up
yeah,
with
that's right.
1 in 12 chance of winning or something versus 1 in 80.
Yeah, like Olympics road cycling is it's a bit of a lottery really. It's not like compared to like Tour de France. It's like oh yeah, you can tell, and they've got these pro teams that are like you remember like London 2012 when Jack Bauer like when he
Yeah,
was that was yeah and oh yeah and then Paris this year then the women's there was this American woman. Her name's Kirsty Faulkner, and she's only been a professional cyclist for like 7 years. So it's like, oh, and she just like won the gold medal, America's first gold medal in the road racing like since the 1960s. Like, oh wow, where did that come from? It's like, yeah, so it's
yeah.
pretty.
Well, that's right. Anyway, David, I better leave you to it.
Yeah,
Who are you
but
picking to win this weekend's games? The NPC, any picks? This Wellington
so we
versus
got
Tasman game is going to be interesting.
oh. Oh, that's gonna be a pretty good game, which I probably won't watch because it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm usually with my kids. But
I love these afternoon games, but it's a tricky one because
yeah,
it could be a very short tenure if they in that game, because
well, it could
it's
be.
good.
I'm like one side I really want Tasman, but Wellington are actually pretty good. Wellington are pretty decent.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
it'll
going to
be
be a
interesting.
cracking game, that
Although
one.
they do have a game, they have to play midweek against Otago, so it'll be
Yeah,
interesting
that's right.
what happens. Yeah, I mean, it might be. I mean, if they, I don't know. I mean, if they play a weakened team against Otago for the Shield game, it's like, well, that actually is good for Otago, but
Yeah, it is. They might well do
yeah,
that. Um, it's
yeah,
no, they've
they
got a
definitely don't
few.
have the depth to. They don't have the depth to win both games. Like, yeah, it's just that's yeah. I mean, they're good, but yeah, like I mean, like, I'm sure they'll have to rest some players in order. And I'm sure the Shield's gonna, be be the number one priority. So. But I certainly want to keep it in Tasman, but at least have a Shield challenge, and because looks like if they keep this one, then they've got Auckland next, and then Taranaki.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a pretty tough run, and this is what I mean. It's a great comp in the sense that there are so many tough games, and I'm glad that the Bunnings NPC social media is they're actually doing quite a good job this year. I did this
yeah,
tweet or this X post, sorry, recently on what's more important, winning the Ranfurly Shield or the NPC, and got retweeted, and they most people were saying the Ranfurly Shield. So yeah, which is
yeah. I
interesting.
mean,
Tasman's won the NPC in recent times, but it seems that the Ranfurly Shield seemed to capture the region more.
this is all the fiction. What's TBD? This is Google. Sorry, this is all. Look, could bring out Southland Canterbury. What's
Well, look
TBD?
for Ethan de Groot may get a run for Southland on his way back from injury.
He was running the what? Wasn't he doing? He was like water boy for
Like an
one of.
under 16s game or
Yeah,
something.
that's right. I saw that. Yeah, in Hart, Tasman, Wellington. Yeah, North Harbour man with
Yeah, I
two.
mean,
It's all All Blacks, so it's
I
gonna be
think
like
I think Canterbury might have woken up after that Otago result, so that may not be good for the
yeah,
Storm. But
nah,
you'd probably pick Canterbury in that one.
yeah,
North Harbour versus.
it's North TBD.
Hold on, I'll put my glasses on actually. Um, oh, there we go. North Harbour, Manawa 2. Yeah, well, you'd pick North Harbour.
What the heck's TBD? Bear plenty playing.
To be determined.
Who's missing out of this? Come on, Google. That's hilarious. Who's missing? Counties.
Actually, Counties Otago could be a tricky one for Otago because Counties
Yeah,
won the
I'm
last two
backing up.
games.
Yep.
Counties is sort of a quite a tricky place to win. Can be
And they're a
quite
sleeper
tough
team.
conditions.
Yeah, the games that when they play I've been I'm thinking last season like your Canterbury's and all that. It's like they can win those games, but they're so up and down.
Yeah, Nanai Satoru, he's awesome, and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, he's carving up at that level. Um,
yeah. The other
yeah,
TV.
I'm not
I
sure
think
who Babe Plenty's
the
playing,
TV.
but
Oh, Taranaki. How can you? Come on, Google.
so we've got Northland Auckland. Well, Auckland, now that they've broken that duck, you'd probably still pick them. But I mean, Northland loves
It's
upsetting
in form
Auckland.
of
That's the
race.
game that they get up
Yeah,
for. But I would still go Auckland in that one. Bay of Plenty,
yeah.
if it is Taranaki they're playing, that's going to be another cracker
That's
because
a
Bay
great.
of Plenty
Yeah,
is a good team.
a good team. Yeah, they're two good teams.
I'd
Waikato Hawke's
probably
Bay.
just go for the Naki, but only just.
Yeah, yeah,
Waikato Hawke's Bay. Now, Waikato, they've been a bit of a mixed bag this season. It'll be interesting
yeah,
to see how Hawke's Bay fare after losing the Shield, if it will sort of galvanise them or dishearten them. I'll probably go Hawke's Bay.
yeah, yeah.
And Tasman and Wellington. Oh,
Might
oh,
just Tasman, I
I
reckon.
want Tasman to win. Wellington
Yeah,
might be a bit tired after playing Otago earlier in the week. But
yeah.
then sometimes that storm week can do the opposite, whereby teams enjoy not having to train so much and
That's right.
play. But I'll go Tasman
Yeah,
and Manawatu South. And well, I actually reckon the Stags might be up for it. They beat Manawatu there last year. And I think the Stags team's better than last year's ones.
yeah, yeah.
Go for the Stags to win that one after losing
Manawatu,
the game to Canterbury.
yeah, the Manawatu are pretty much they're probably the weakest link in the men's. Although funny enough, I don't know. Do you follow the Farah Palmer Cup much?
Not so much. I sort of got limited time to follow all
Yeah,
this stuff, so yeah, I don't really follow it too
but
much.
the Manawatu Cyclones, that's the Farah Palmer Cup team. They're really awesome. They're like,
Right. Oh, that's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. I think because they've got Celica Winiata. There's this other fullback they've got. It's like, yeah, it's funny how the men's team is like really trash. Sorry, but it is.
Well,
But the
Southland,
women's team is like, yeah,
Southland doesn't have a women's team in that
uh,
competition, so yeah, interesting.
and then Taranaki, of course, they're the current men's champions. But yeah, their women's team is yeah. They played Tasman the other night, and it was like, yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah.
not a surprise. And it was like, well, that's a surprise because they're like, not, yeah, like the weakest team in the Farah Palmer Cup, the Taranaki Frio. So yeah, and then what else is there? It's NRL finals. I guess you don't really care about
Oh,
that.
like I'm a purist. I'm
No,
a rugby. I've only got
yeah,
limited
fair
time
enough.
these days.
Fair enough. Yeah,
NPC or nothing, It's I've got to say I do enjoy those 12-minute YouTube highlights. Gives you a good taste if you can't watch the game.
yeah, they're compressed games. I mean, they might be a bit long, so my secret is to cram them is just to play at 2 times speed. It's like, yeah, just yep. I mean, especially if it's like, oh yeah, they're good. So
But I do enjoy the NPC and even the schoolboy stuff. I think because it's still raw enough that they sort of there's sort of a not quite as too much structure, so you still get some well worked tries that are kind of
yeah, yeah.
as within some when you get towards super level and sort of sometimes test, it's kind of the defense sometimes can overtake.
Oh
So
yeah, it's more structure. Yeah, and it's
yeah,
like,
so sometimes it can be quite refreshing watching this NPC or the first 15 comp whereby you've got some players that they just do what they want sometimes, rather than
it's a bit
play
more
being in
instinctual. Yeah,
yeah, it's a bit more throw the ball around, which makes
yeah,
it
yeah,
women good to watch. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then Yeah, that's right. Oh well.
Oh,
Well,
well, thanks for having me on the Lim Report
a
tonight.
lot,
I didn't want to see you
a lot.
floundering, um,
Thanks. Oh, much
drowning your
appreciated.
sorrows and your last weekend's loss. So, yeah.
Oh, I've made my peace. It's like, I was kind of like expecting it. It's a
Yeah,
shame we have to wait another year to take them on. But oh, is it next year? Is it? No. The test series thing doesn't start next.
nah.
I think it's not for another couple of years. It might be the next TV deal.
But
And we
yeah, no, it's good for the good bit of
That'll be good.
excitement, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't play South African Super Rugby teams anymore. It's kind of like we
Nah,
missed
it's a
that.
shame, actually, because they
Yeah,
were some good games. They bring
yeah.
a different style, which the Australian teams and the New Zealand
They just
teams a lot of the
don't.
time play
Like the
quite similar.
Fijian teams are like, yeah, it's like the Fijian teams are the ones that actually, the Fijian Drew give the, they're probably the most interesting team, but that's just one team. It's like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
a shame. I
right.
mean, the players don't like, I think they certainly are glad not to travel that far all the time, but yeah, it's like,
Yeah, that's right.
but yeah, you just miss that quality. So,
That's
and
right. Yeah.
the Northern Hemisphere teams are like the Welsh, Irish, and Scottish and Italian teams are just loving it. It's like, yeah, yep,
Yeah. They've got a lot of super teams now, the
yep.
Northern Hemisphere. Yeah.
And of course, yeah, they've got the Heineken Cup of their South African teams, and it's like, yeah, it's not called the Heineken Cup. It's not the European Cup anymore. It's like, yep. Oh
Oh,
well,
well,
thanks.
thanks
I
for
mean, it's
having
an
me
important
on the
guest.
Lim Report off the bench tonight.
Yeah, yeah, and
Impact.
look, it was originally to have Myth of Tom from Myth of Damien McKenzie, but he had to pull out. So, yep, I might try and I try and I'm starting to feel a bit like a Graham Norton, a bit trying to get all these. Trying to get Alex Malcolm from Legend of Mighty
Oh,
Banks.
yeah. Yeah.
Everyone knows it's Alex Malcolm, so but it's just time zones and yeah. So
Yeah, he's in Perth these days, isn't he?
yeah, it's usually my 8:05 is my streaming time, and then yeah, I've got a few people lined up, so I'm sure.
How long
Cool.
have you
Oh
been
well.
doing this for?
Oh, I was only starting to probably about the last 3 weeks or so, because how did it start? I think started talking to this South African guy on Instagram. It's like, oh, we started talking about rugby, and he's got his own YouTube channel. There's another guy I talked to. His name's Pivot Piece. He's not really. He's more AFL NRL. He's Australian. He's more like he makes videos about he's more on like I don't know, this thing on YouTube that's this bad about stadiums and why and the NRL commerce the what's it called, the Barassi line in Australia, which is like the divide between AFL and NRL, the more like economic sort of rather than the sport side of it. Yeah, so he's pretty good. Got Myth of Damien McKenzie. Yeah, and then was talking to this American guy. Well, actually, I finally got to talk to this American guy. I've been friends with for a bit on the weekend. So yeah, it's a bit like a talk show, but yeah, it's kind of nice to collab and talk about stuff. So yeah, and I don't mind just talking about stuff. So yeah, I was like saying earlier, it's like yeah, this feels like midnight talk. This feels like nighttime radio sport again. It's like
Yeah, well, I'm a first-time listener, first-time caller. So,
yeah.
no. Oh,
Oh
well,
well,
catch you
good
later.
to see you, and say hi to Power and the kids for me as well. Since
Yep.
Power,
Okay.
yep, and
Right.
yep, and all the best to Ecuador, and yep.
Cool.
Yeah,
See ya.
see you, man. Oh well, that was Scotty Donaldson. Right, no interest there. This is great stuff. Always do, always do like a own Grossi Perna show. I mean, yeah, but we'll get Myth Damien. I'm trying to see if we can get yeah. Now we were looking at there's the Patriots Jets. I am trying to do that. Yeah, that's definitely confirmed. I've got the afternoon off. So I will be doing that stream. I try and get Nigel Yordan of the sports. He does commentary for rugby. Just trying to see if I could get him, and he actually said thanks for the invite. He'd be working his day job, so yeah, I thought that was a long Hail Mary as Aaron Rodgers loves to throw against Detroit, who won. But yeah, it's like imagine that like having Nigel Yordan calling the Jets and like I would have been play calling because it's nothing like the because that was just impromptu. I was just trying to practice it. So bit like urinating tree. So, oh well, I think I'll just hang up here. And look, we will keep it on the next guest list. Keep an eye on the updates for the next guests, and hopefully we'll bring someone on. Maybe, hopefully we'll get Tom again. Before the rugby season finishes. So yeah, that'll work. Have a good night.